Okay, I think I'm on. If you can't hear me, let me know as soon as you can. I think it takes like 30 seconds for this thing to catch up, so I will wait out that amount of time. Also, no echo on that thing. That was a problem last time. Okay, I think I'm on. If you can't hear me, let me. I think it takes like 30 seconds for this thing to catch up, so I will wait out that amount of time. Also, no echo on that thing. That was a problem last time. Okay, I think I'm on. If you can't hear me, let me. I think it takes like 30 seconds. Shoot, now I can hear myself. So I will wait out that amount of time. Also, no echo on that thing. That was a problem last time. Okay, I think I'm on. If you can't hear me, let me. I think it takes like 30 seconds. Shoot, now I can hear myself. So I will wait out that amount of time. Also, no echo on that thing. That was a problem last time. Okay, I think I'm on. If you can't hear me, let me. Shoot, now I can hear myself. So I will wait out that amount of time. Also, no echo on that thing. That was a problem last time. Okay, I think I'm on. Oh, I know what the problem is. I was just listening to myself on a recording. Okay. My God, that was confusing and terrifying for a moment. All right. Okay. Hello everyone. Um, I am Chris. I'm one of the developers. I see Stonehearth logo is in terrible, terrible copyright infringement of us. We're going to be sending cease and desists to you very, very, very soon. Um, like permanent loop. Uh-oh. I hope no one's here. Everyone's saying everything still sounds good. Hopefully, if anything else becomes a problem, let me know. Okay. God, I wish it wasn't a 30-second lag. I hate this. I used to be a teaching assistant, or a little bit, when I was at university. Um, and like Okay, awesome. I'm fine now. Yeah, no, I like back and forth. I like to be able to talk to people. I like to be able to interact and say things. And when there's like a 30-second like delay, like I can't. It's it's all right. You can read text and I can get back to you, but like it's not the back and forth that I'm used to. So this is always a little bit throwing me. Um, so anyway, yeah, I'm Chris. I'm one of the developers. I work on Stonehearth. If you're not familiar with us already, but I think most of the people here are probably relatively familiar. It is my turn to stream. I am a infrastructural kind of programmer guy. Um, what have I been working on? Just to keep you kind of up to date. It's been a while actually. I think when was the last time? It was well, definitely before PAX. In fact, I think I missed my spot in the beginning of March uh, with PAX. So probably like late January or something like that. Um, Back then, let's see, it was topology service and a bunch of other sort of uh, infrastructural changes I was talking about, sort of Stonehearth going forward, what we were going to be kind of looking at a little bit. Uh, then PAX happened, and like, well, so a good thing is that we've had some new engineers join our team, and they're getting up to date and up to speed and starting to do lots of stuff, which is good because it means that I can start to do other things and sort of we can start to specialize a little bit more and all kind of go and uh, Joe says, we spoke at PAX. That doesn't count as a stream. No, I'm afraid not, unless you were streaming that, which would be really awkward and kind of creepy. Um, yeah, anyway, so we've got programmers and we've got people working and doing other interesting stuff and gameplay related stuff. So I get to start going and doing other weirder things and potentially larger things as well, things we might not have had sort of time to kind of block out to, kind of keep our momentum going. And then PAX was interesting. PAX was great, by the way. If you've never been, try to go. If you have that, if you're lucky within that like hour to 2 hour block of time where you can luck out and get tickets because it's crazy. Unless you're a developer, and that's crazy. It's really easy to get tickets. I don't know why everyone's complaining. Um, PAX was great fun. It was great meeting all these people. Great having them all show up. But at the end of it, I was like, "This is the third PAX. The third PAX we were at. End of 2015, end of 2016 at West, and then now beginning of 2017 East. And at three PAXs that I've been to, three times I've had to apologize for building. In 2015, I was apologizing for all the scaffolding stuff, like we couldn't even complete buildings, half or a quarter of the time or whatever. All kinds of problems there. And at least by the end of 2016, PAX West, it was like that was okay, like working relatively well enough. The majority of things build the majority of the time. But like the UI is still like terrible, and there's all these like ridiculous little UX problems going on. And then like again in now March has just passed, and it was like nothing has changed. We did not we've been doing all these other things and kind of getting people up to speed and no time to sort of devote to building. And I remember we had this one kid show up. He was like 8 years old, maybe, or 10, or something like that. Right at that sort of that age where they just sort of drag the parents around. The parents are kind of helpless to at the whims of the child's fancies. And he sits down at our table and he sits down, starts playing it, and like is one of those people. We get a handful, per day where they're just like they just lock in. Like there's nothing else they want to do. There's nothing else they want to play with. They just want to play Stonehearth, and in particular he wanted to do building. And he just fell in love with it. Despite how terrible it is. And it kind of like it didn't break my heart. Like he came away and he was like, "I love this game," and I was just like, "Okay, no more. I'm not apologizing for another PAX." And whether that meant I'm not going to be showing up to another PAX or actually to fix the damn thing remains to be completely seen. Who knows how long this is going to take exactly? But for the last 3 weeks or so, basically since getting back from PAX East, I've been hip deep and now like face deep in a redesign and re-implementation of building kind of from the ground up. It's actually coming along quite well so far. This is a long-term kind of thing. This is not going to be appearing in Alpha 22. Guys just says, I have no idea what it's like to lose a day to building a Stonehearth or two. I hope that's you're losing a day because you're enjoying it, not losing a day's worth of work. Yeah, so I mean, it's great that you guys like it. I'm glad, but it's like, and it's encouraging because it's such a terrible UI right now. It's so unforgiving, and you have to learn it, and it has to sort of learn you. You're staring into the abyss is staring into you, and I'm glad that you're very forgiving about it. But like, yeah, it's time to up the game. It's time to actually bring that part of the game into to shine and to polish with the rest of the game. Like I think the rest of the game is coming along pretty well. We've had a lot more features being added. We've got a lot of nice stuff planned in the future as well. That's now actually starting to get worked on. But building has been like the sore spot. It's been like the terrible acne on an otherwise I think good experience. Hey, I've been here before. Roofs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so I think I'll talk a little bit about it. I'll talk a little bit about redesign, maybe a little bit the problems, and then where we're going and what you can sort of expect to see in the next couple months. Um, the short version of what's wrong with building is everything. And I'm not trying to be like mean or anything like that. Like the blood is on my hands. Like we were all kind of involved in this, but it basically has been misdesigned sort of from the ground up. Like we made a bunch of sort of like we've never built this thing before. What do we do? Okay, we're gonna go with this model. We came up with this idea for how building was gonna work. Um, and it kind of seemed plausible. It's like, yeah, this could be good. We're gonna have these walls, and we're gonna have floors, and walls are gonna be attached to floors, and you'll have a roof, and the roof will go on top of the walls, and awesome building. Like, yeah, this is plausible. We can you throw together your little prototype. It is, and the prototype works, and you're like, okay, awesome. This is the direction we go. And there's always this danger where it's like, if you don't, if your prototype isn't of high fidelity, you're gonna miss important things. And so, like, well, then, like the question of, well, wait, what does a multi-story structure look like? Well, oh, okay, we said that walls are attached to floors and floors on the ground, but oh, actually, floors can also be attached to walls, and okay, that sort of makes sense. Can I put a wall on a wall? Oh, not too sure. Maybe. What about roofs and like roofs on like a walls, but like the walls already have like floors around them or kind of partially covering. Like, how does that work? Like, oh, okay, that's another case I hadn't considered. Oh, we'll just start to, and then it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And then you're like, oh, also arbitrary voxel tool. People want to put little blocks and little pieces of slab everywhere and like decorate things nicely. And at that point, you pulled out the gun and you pulled the trigger because you're dead. There's nothing you can do at that point. That you are now committed to designing. If you're going to promise that, if you're going to deliver that, you're committed to designing a building system that can handle just completely arbitrary voxel data, completely arbitrary voxel configurations. None of this. Oh, there's a wall and there's a floor and there's a thing. No, 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 no. It's just here are some voxels. They are connected, hopefully, in a coherent kind of fashion. Figure out how to build it. And so yeah, like especially when we released that voxel tool, when we released Slab, like that was it. That was like the sort of the end of the end of the line for sort of the old building system, and that was a while ago, and we've been puttering along with it ever since. And there was the big scaffolding refactor that led to actual building that actually again mostly worked most or rather does mostly work most of the time. Um, we are at wit's end with this thing. It makes too many assumptions. It has sort of the wrong sort of core assumptions. The idea that there are these things called walls and the walls are connected to floors is way too specific and way too it's way too semantic. And to give you an idea of what I mean by that, like we human beings have concepts of things called walls and called floors. Floors, and it's a little bit of a fuzzy concept. Like, if a wall is, not completely connected to other walls, is it really still a wall? What point does a wall become a column or whatever? Like, these are the semantics we attach to it. The structure, the laws of physics, the electrostatic forces that are keeping things together, gravity that's pulling. Doesn't care what a wall is. It doesn't know what a wall is. It knows what atoms are. It knows what photons and being exchanged between atoms and valence electrons and all that. But it doesn't know what a wall is. And that's kind of sort of actually what part of the problem with the system we have is that it was built around these semantics when instead it should have been built around the idea that we just have structures. We have collections of voxels, and this voxel rests on top of this voxel, and this voxel hangs off of this voxel, and whatnot. So get rid of that notion that there's such a thing as a wall, or rather, don't get rid of it. Just you put it at another level. You put it at the level that the human beings want to work with. When you're a designer, when you're mega shub and you want to go and build something, or and you're thinking logically about a roof that you want to sort of place and move around, and then you think about walls sort of logically with flooring attached to them, and the flooring maybe moves the walls or whatnot. That's for the humans. That's for up here. But below here, the system, the system that the system that's going to rely on doesn't know what that is. Just knows about structures. Just knows about like sort of voxel chunks and how to connect them. So that's one major thing that I've been. Well, I want to say I was reworking or working on, but really the new building system is basically a ground up rewrite, not a completely not a complete like throw everything in the garbage redesign. I'm careful enough and smart enough to avoid doing that. There's actually a lot of good tactical pieces of code, lots of good lots of correct things that are here and there and everywhere. But the structure, the kind of design of the system, it was just totally wrong. And so that design is being thrown out, and we have this new one that I've been basically assembling here. I want to tell Chris to take a deep breath. I'm breathing just fine. I just have a lot to say, so it takes a while. Otherwise, oh, almost going to sleep there. Don't go to sleep. Come back. What else here? Yeah. Yeah, more like programming concepts 101. A little bit, yeah. That's actually a really good point. Um, there's this. You learn it in school. You learn, especially when you're a young fledgling programmer and you're doing stuff in school where uh, you have like a programming assignment, and you have like, I have to do a thing. I got to like build a little thing that sends some mail to some people and collects mail or something like that. And you're like, how do I do this? I don't know. Oh, I'm going to break the problem up into subproblems. Oh, I'm going to collect the mail and then send the mail. Okay, how do I collect the mail? Oh, I'm going to break that into subproblems. I'm going to break the send mail into subproblems and keep decomposing this thing hierarchically until I get to these leaves. And I have all these leaf problems that I can solve. And then, oh yeah, awesome. It works. I've built my system. Um, and if you follow that, you'll be fine in school. Unfortunately, that doesn't work very well when you're dealing with large, complex systems. You don't want a decomposition like that, because what you will end up doing is you'll have something that works, and the minute you need to make a change anywhere, the minute someone asks for a new feature, the minute someone goes and says, this thing is not quite wrong, I actually meant this other thing, slightly, similar but not quite the same. You have to fix a thing, which then impacts a thing that depended upon it, which then impacts a thing that depended upon it, and then potentially even reverse dependencies. Things that were dependent upon by others have to change, and it's an extremely brittle kind of design, and you end up kind of toppling the house of cards, as it were. What you really do want is this sort of layered architecture where you have these separation of these concerns of these different things. And which is not to say that all of building was just like this ridiculous decomposition that didn't make sense. There was some absolutely good decomposition in terms of like, we had this concept of walls and roofs and whatnot, which is the wrong concept, but nevertheless that's what we were with. But they were all basically just these fabricator components. That was one sort of decomposition, and we had this concept of blueprint things, and blueprints were like what you wanted the structure to look like, and then the fabricator would turn it into the actual thing that you wanted to see. So there was that. Again, it was just the wrong one, and if you just get it wrong, then you're just wrong. Um, so there was that. Another, though, actually a really important thing, another big mistake that we made was sort of tying the user interface to tying the user interface abstractions to the actual building kind of abstraction, or the building concepts. So, and you could think that, at first blush, you're like, this is actually a pretty cool way of doing this. If you consider something like, Minecraft, where it's like, I'm putting blocks in the world, and, I'm directly putting them in there. I'm directly editing the world, and I'm altering it. Yeah, like that's kind of what you want. You want that kind of immediate feedback. That sounds good. I want to be able to like see how I'm editing things. That sounds really cool. Um, and like, so you're like, oh, let's do that with Stonehearth. Oh, you're gonna put a wall into the world, and you can just kind of like drag that, or you could place it there, and then like the thing you see is actually sort of the UI concept that you're editing. And as it turns out, actually it worked out extremely badly for us, because the minute you want to do something more interesting, like where the Sims, you go and you drop like a wall loop, for example, and then the floor appears underneath it, and then you can start to drag walls around, and the floor goes with it, and there's like things attached to the walls, and they go with it and whatnot. Like, the UI representation and the UI abstractions that you present for users to be able to interact with should, or don't necessarily have to have any kind of basis and any kind of thing that relates to the actual underlying kind of structures. So that's another really important thing, and that's actually, I have not been working on that yet. Nikki is coming up with ideas, and I think she actually did a stream just recently where she talked about some of the things that she was looking at. We're probably going to crib a lot from The Sims 4, I think. There's some other cool things that like, some other cool ideas, like in terms of sort of the arbitrary voxel modeling. Like, I think there's some neat concepts in box modeling, if you're at all familiar with that. If not, I might try to find a video somewhere. So that's a couple of things we want to basically, now that we have now that we're going to have this proper separation between sort of the UI representation and the underlying sort of structure, we can kind of do whatever the hell we want. So I like the idea. Well, maybe we'll have a concept of rooms. Maybe we'll have. I want to see like roofs become like a thing that you can just sort of move around and drag and resize and like again. I love the way The Sims 4. I didn't play much of The Sims at all until like I kind of got fed up with Stonehearth's building. I'm like, okay, how did these guys do it? And it turns out they put a ton of time in. It's very clear, and it's funny because now that I've worked on this problem, I recognize all the little things that they did. They're like, oh yeah, those are really good ideas. Oh, that's how we're going to solve this problem. That's clearly the right way of doing it. So thank you to all the Sims people who put in all of the time and all of the research into this, which I am now going to reap. Hopefully we can advance the state of the art a little bit as well, maybe add our own spin on some things here and there. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're going to be at. It does sound like you're constantly out of breath. I am talking a lot. Uh, so you want light coupling, not tight coupling. Yes, always. I mean, we basically always want that. But in this particular case, like there are some things that are attached together in building that are just like completely inappropriate. A great example of this is actually in the scaffolding sort of generation. The scaffolding is actually how we figure out how to build the building. It's like we have all these pieces, but now we need to go and figure out how to like attach things and like get from here to there so I can place the block and whatnot. That plan that we kind of build, and it really is a plan. It's an ordering of all the sort of pieces of the building. It actually lives inside sort of the building component, and when it's generated, it has all these side effects where you end up creating entities and hooking up listeners and all this stuff, and like disentangling that would be like super hard. And the new system is just like, nope, there is this concept of a building plan. It is like self-contained. It is all inside, this sort of thing that we can just toss away, which is going to be really important when I start telling you some of the things we're going to be able to do. It is totally abstracted. So we can just have this sort of, nice plan abstraction that allows us to not only schedule scaffolding and mining activities, some other nice things, for example, like making sure hearthlings are clear of an area before you start building in it, because maybe like the hearthlings are going to get trapped and we want to make them, get out of there. Another really, really important thing that we want to be able to support, I don't want to commit to it 100%, but like we kind of have to. Because especially because of all the feedback that we get, where someone goes and starts building a building, and like they forgot that one little thing that they wanted to do, but it's too late. The building's in progress. What can we do? In the present system, there's not a damn thing we can do. And in the new system, we would be able to basically just stop building, and then we can just basically throw away the plan. And then you can make some changes to the blueprint, and then you can hit start again, and it'll compute a new plan based upon the current state of the building, and then continue building. So we want to be able to have, building, editing a building after it's started. We would really, really like to have renovations as well. So once you've completed a building and you just want to put that little, window in somewhere or add a new thing on, you can do that. This is actually heavily reliant on a new scaffolding system. Was it Geister? I don't know if it was you or not. Someone challenged me the last time I was streaming because I was talking about the topology service. Someone did this. I think it was you, and was like, what does topology service give you in terms of scaffolding? And I was like, I have no idea. I hadn't even thought about it. But it seemed like a very interesting idea. I started thinking about it, and it slowly started to occur to me that there actually might be a really, really nice algorithm that is more flexible, more predictable, and uses a little bit less scaffolding, a little bit more optimal in terms of its placement, and allows you to cover like in progress buildings or like pieces of already built structures or things that are in the way in a very consistent way, so that you can do renovations. So you can go and you can add a thing on the outside of the building, and it's not like we have to go and like pull down the entire building or something, or compute scaffolding or the whole thing, which is the only way we could possibly do it right now. We could actually compute sort of a relatively optimal kind of placement of scaffolding to get you to that part where you could then go and make the renovation. So yeah, it looks like that was actually a pretty fruitful kind of question that led to some interesting insights into the scaffolding problem. Once I actually have a very secure algorithm, I'll probably talk about it a lot more. There's a lot I have to sort of think about and kind of work on, but yeah, I think this is all this to say is, we want what everyone else wants. We want editing, to be a pleasant experience and to give you great feedback, and just feel great and allow you to do lots of stuff. And then we want to be able to go and do, edit an in-progress building. We want to be able to edit a finished building, be able to go and remodel stuff. And of course, we want to be able to do this without lots and lots of bugs. And the present system was just not going to happen. It was just way too difficult. It was already filled with like little corner cases and little gotchas and little bugs here and there. And now, like the new system looks like it should be able to support basically all of these things really, really, really well and really handily. I have not been reading comments. I'm going to go and read some comments here. Minecraft is what I was thinking of, except in really odd circumstances where it doesn't care if you're placing a wall or floor. So yeah, exactly. It's all just blocks. And yes, my God, we're totally going to go and steal. Anyone else have issues with the AI building too much scaffolding and then quitting the job for no reason? Yes. Sorry about that. I don't mean to make fun or laugh, but that's very much one of the things we're trying to address. Are you looking to handle the log on the roof issue? That's an interesting one. How well could we handle it? Runtime stuff like that's really, really hard. It's one thing to say, I want to go and place a block here or place a structure here and then another one here, another one there. But to wait, to prevent tearing down of scaffolding for structures on which things are remaining or placed. I could imagine a thing where you do that. I could imagine looking for resources on top of place structures when you're in teardown mode. Yeah, I'm not going to promise that one. That one seems like a lot of work. I think I might just rather have them like poof, disappear, but we'll see. Let's see. I think reinventing the entire building system and UI will probably resolve that. Well, okay, yeah. I don't know about the log on the roof issue, so we'll think about it, or I will think about it rather. When Hearthlings would die when left on the roof, they'll still die, but text size. Yeah, I might be streaming with a slightly lower resolution. I think I'm doing it actually at 1280 or something like that. What am I doing? Yeah, 1280 or 720p rather. I can try upping it another time. I'm not sure that you can read a whole lot. If you're going to read it, I'll zoom in anyway. So, Jamox Reacts topology service. I'm not sure with respect to what, unless you're referring to. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to tell with topology service that that building block is unreachable, or that resource block, the piece of wood that you left up there is unreachable. Yeah. So couldn't you just topology? Yeah, exactly. Determine a ladder is necessary to reach out an item and call it done. So it's and this is actually the challenge in sort of the scaffolding. Let me go draw a picture. Paint, please. Let's draw a picture. This is going to be programmer art, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize. There's a reason Ali does the art and I do not. So I guess the simple one, let's consider. So here's like ground, we'll say. And then you have like a structure like this, and then maybe you have like a structure like this, and then you have a structure like that, and then let's call it a. Oh, no, hold on. I want. Yeah, here. This is terrible. Structure like this, and you leave your block, your wooden block, right over here. And so they've torn down the scaffolding. This is your structure for some damn reason. I have no idea. And this is obviously unreachable. There's no ladders here. There's no anything around here. So you're like, this is a topology service says that this is unreachable. Cool, and we can tell that now. Hooray! Yay! Algorithms are great. Okay, so now what though? You're like, we're going to place a ladder. Well, I mean, I'm on this structure. Where do I place my ladder? Well, okay, I place a ladder over here. Okay. Well, this is not the ground either. This is unreachable as well. Okay, so actually I kind of want to place a ladder over here then. I need to place a consecutive series of ladders in order to create a reachable surface, or create a reachable path rather, to unify this. So now this becomes part of basically this reachable surface, and then you can go and get there. So how do you do that? I think you could see I can make this arbitrarily hard. In fact, if I'm a real jerk, I could even do something like this, for example, and like maybe this was the last thing they built. So now you're in like a cup. Now you're in like this little thing. I have like a term I invented for this. This is like a hearthling trap. You could totally build this right now, where you get into the situation even with the current scaffolding system, where depending on exactly how you do things, you can actually leave hearthlings stranded, or you can actually lead to unbuildable sections of the game. And So this is, yeah, so like how do you deal with these kinds of things? And as it turns out, so this problem is basically ultimately the scaffolding problem. And by that I mean, how do you reach all the pieces necessary to build the thing? And so the current algorithm that I have in mind, the one I've been thinking about, is something along the lines of noticing that the thing I want to get to, or at least in this case it would be just getting to the block, is on an unreachable section, and then trying to figure out then what I would call almost like a topology adjacency graph. And to just make this super clear, like this is its own unique topology. We're going to give it a coloring of like, whatever the hell it is, magenta. This is its own unique topology. This is its own unique topology. I'm going to run out of colors here very shortly. This is its own unique topology. And then the guy at the bottom here, which is the one we actually really care about, where the hearthlings presumably are, is its own unique topology as well. So like, how do I go? What sequence of things do I have to do? Maybe do I have to blow up, structures? Well, if you actually encased this, you're completely screwed. But let's pretend that doesn't happen. And there's actually some good reasons to sort of think that that's not so much that it can't happen, but that if it does happen, as a player, you're going to be like, oh, right, yeah, of course you can't reach that. You left the thing in there. So let's just not worry about that for the moment. You have these completely isolated topological regions, and I need to go and join them. So, Beowulf says, if you could accomplish that, it'd make it. Yes, exactly. Oh, yeah, okay, you're jumping the gun there. And that's exactly the case. It is a very, very general problem that we're going to see kind of over and over again, where I want to go and connect all these things. So if we have, and this is vague right now, if we have the concept of the topology adjacency, this guy is adjacent to this guy is adjacent to this guy's not adjacent because I can't, for example, drop a ladder, but I can drop a ladder from here to here. So I know this is adjacent, I know these are adjacent, this guy's actually adjacent to whatever the color this is, and then this guy's adjacent to this color. If I can build this information and get this, now I know that there is the potential here for connection by using, for example, a ladder. And this is exactly how I want the new scaffolding algorithm to work. Right now, the way the scaffolding algorithm is you start with nothing, and you start placing objects. And you say, can I drop scaffolding next to this object? Yes, okay, that goes up, and you put another one up, and you put another one up. And then you keep building up, and you have to basically aggressively place scaffolding everywhere, because we don't know what is connected to what. There is no connectivity information, but there's a geometric intuition that I won't even bother going into because it's super weird and it escapes me most of the time, that says if you basically do this, barring stuff like hearthling traps, you can pretty much guarantee that everything will be connected, and that means that hearthlings can get anywhere they need to go in order to go and erect more scaffolding to be able to reach the next thing and so forth and build the whole damn building. It's, as I say, we have no idea, we can't actually prove that any of that works, all the time, and we should say I can prove it doesn't for things like hearthling traps. And you don't know what scaffolding you actually need to be connected to other things. It's not clear at any moment in time what the heck is going on, because we don't have that connectivity information. With this system, oh, I've dropped a ladder from here to here. So now magenta's connected to green, and they become one thing. And then you go and you say, oh, I've dropped a ladder from magenta green to blue. Now these are all connected. So now, not only do I know that, yeah, in this case, I could go and get up to here and reach this block or whatever, but like if you start with the building backwards, for scaffolding, if you start with the completed structure, then you start dropping ladders for these unreachable locations to get scaffolding up to them so that you can build them. And then you remove the piece. You go and you say, okay, I know this guy can be built because I was able to build a ladder up to them. So you remove that. And then you say, well, now I need to build this thing, or maybe you built actually this thing as well, and you get rid of both of these things. And you say, well, look, I actually can still reach. Actually, that's an illegal thing. We wouldn't have built it that way. You'd build this thing after that. Then you'd say, oh, look at this guy over here. I can reach this guy because blue is still connected to green. So I can build scaffolding over here. So I know I can build this structure. So I remove it. And then I say, oh, I can still reach this green structure because, like I'm right over here. I'm right, the scaffolding go down over here. So then we remove this structure. And then we say, oh, I can build this guy because it's still rooted at the ground, and we can build that structure. And by going backwards, the complete opposite of the current way that the scaffolding system works, we can not only build this predictably, we can build the whole damn thing relatively optimally. I don't want to say optimal use of scaffolding, but relatively minimal as a result. I've been talking a hell of a lot. That's what you guys have been saying. More talk about ladders. I don't think they should build ladders. They should stand on each other's shoulders and climb up that way. That could work as well. Actually, that would look awesome. That would, especially if you had like stonelings or something, or like the mini goblins. Yeah, and actually, this system would still work because you'd still have that. You'd know that there has to be a ladder there, but in this case, the ladder would just be made of like goblins. Yeah. Okay. I'm totally writing that down. That's such a great idea. In theory, if they build this code to reduce technology, you could definitely use it for smart sieging enemies. Yep, that's totally the problem. Um, the Desert Hearthling have all sort of buildings for the crafters, but the Ascendancy don't. Why? Um, do they have all kinds? The Ascendancy has the. Oh yeah, so one has a potter's shack and stuff. It just hasn't been built yet. We're gonna get to it eventually. Um, just like that can attack doors. They should be able to eventually do damage to buildings and walls. Yeah, so that's another one. Like, could we reuse? Yeah, building to. Could you reuse a topology adjacency or something like this to figure out that like I'm over here, I'm a goblin, I want to like this is your wall, and your wall extends indefinitely so you can't get through it. I want to get over to here. How do I do that? And then we'll say that this has its own color. Oops, that is not what I wanted. I wanted the thing over here. So this has its own color. So we're in blue. We want to reach this, and let's say this is incredibly tall, and so it doesn't make sense to go and put siege ladders everywhere like this. Is there a way to know? Could I do a thing where basically, in addition to computing these sort of adjacencies by dropping ladders, can I create adjacencies by subtracting other pieces of geometry? So maybe we have a thing where we say, oh, okay, when we're building this adjacency graph. If we remove one voxel or two voxels or three voxels in a given direction, are we now connected to this? And if we are, we mark that, and we mark it differently. So like you're containing sort of a lot of meta information about this, where you're going to say that this is I can get to this thing via a ladder. I can get to this thing via destruction. And then it's tricky because well, what if you take out the entire wall? What you have to do is are you going to accommodate 1 unit high enemies? Are you going to do 3 unit high enemies? Like, how big of a hole? If the hole gets too big, and then it sort of creates this XCOM style effect where something should fall but doesn't. Is that a problem? Do we have to worry about that? So yeah, I mean that's a harder one to sort of. I feel like there's going to be a lot of edge cases there, but the same basic idea of trying to figure out how to connect disparate topologies and looking for, excuse me, looking where they're closest is sort of the key idea there. So hopefully this kind of thing can be reused for that as well. Megashub says, damaged structures require Stonehearth to store and refer back to building plans so that Hearthlings could intelligently repair damaged structures. Absolutely, yeah. And and this is the beautiful thing about the new system is we want to be able to do renovations. We want to be able to, make changes to a building plan that already exists. So if we've got that, then how is that any different from building damage? The answer is it is not. It is exactly the same. So once we have something that can deal with renovations, we by definition have something that can deal with building damage. Which is not to say that everything automatically works. You could imagine damage to places that Hearthlings can't reach. So what do? The player might have to help out in that case. But I think a crucial difference, what we have right now, when a building stops working, it just looks weird. Why did they stop? Everything looks okay. Why did they stop? Oh, because it turns out there was this unreachable piece and they couldn't get there. And it's not intuitive to the player. You look at it, and unless you understand what the model is, you're going to be like, I don't know why this is stopped. What do I do? What's the corrective action as a player that I can take to fix this? Whereas with this system, it's kind of modeling the way it should map to a player's intuition. I think far better. Where of course you can't reach this thing. This is in this I've got a structure that looks like this, and it's completely sealed off, and there's no way that they can get inside. So obviously, yeah, of course I can't. I, the player, understand that that's okay. This is a limitation that makes geometric sense. I will go in and I can help out. I will blow a wall open or something like that, or some kind of thing. And ideally, we can kind of point to you. We can say, look, I can't reach this block, or I can't place scaffolding here. and I tried looking around all over the thing, and I couldn't do. And like we can try to at least show you where the sort of the trouble area is, and then hopefully like human intuition takes over after that. That's the theory. We'll see how well that works in practice. I don't really just destroy the building and tell them to do it again and right this time. It's gonna work. I swear to God. I don't care if this is like if this takes me 10 years. Oh, okay. If it takes me 10 years, I care a lot. No, we will get this right. There's lots of actually stuff that like we could probably fix right now. There are just like dumb little corner cases where like someone builds a thing and while they're in the middle of constructing it, they quite innocently go and they plant like a shrubbery and they put it like right here. And now like the hard thing is like, oh cool, I gotta put some scaffolding down, and they can't complete this one block of scaffolding, and like that's it, game over. If they can't complete the one block of scaffolding, they can't go and build anything else, and then like that's it. And like yeah, so it's like just dumb stuff like that where it could be like, oh, you're building a building here, cordon off this area. Do not allow Hearthlings to place anything over here, and anything that is in the process of being placed here should be canceled. And as long as we let the player know, as long as we inform you of what's happening, then yeah, you can hopefully do things like that and kind of convey intuitively that no, there's work going on here, guys. Back it up. You can even put a little graphic on or like some little thing or a placard around where the construction zone is so that you don't like interrupt the very crucial scaffolding algorithm that has to happen. Coaster's Paul says, I remember making scaffolding manually with ladders back when slab were first added. The stream makes me happy. Oh, change the subject for building for a moment. Is mining your code or Albert's? It is Albert's code, which is probably why it works a lot of the time, as opposed to... No, that's not, is it fair? Yeah, it's a little fair. Albert does good stuff. Yes, but anyway, yeah. Go ahead, ask away what you would like to know about mining, and I might be able to go and tell you one or two things, but probably on the whole not. Let's see. Anyway, yeah, where was I talking about? We went over this. We went over some of the future stuff. Talked about a little bit of the structure. Anything? So I've mentioned renovations, mentioned UI stuff. Anything else? Oh, probably timelines. Yeah. So let's see. So like I said, I'm hip deep in the stuff right now on sort of the low level kind of things, which are going well. It's actually quite gratifying to see that like there's a lot of incidental complexity I've been able to kind of like get rid of for a while, which is good. Nothing will land in Alpha 22. Absolutely not a chance. I'm hoping for Alpha 22 internally to have basically the new scaffolding algorithm more or less working in place with the sort of the new kind of structure and new sort of building, bottom half, as I'm calling it, well enough. And then like there'll be bugs and there'll be things, and there might be performance issues and whatnot. But that's sort of my personal goal for 22. Nothing. The code won't even touch develop. It won't go out in 22, so you won't be able to see anything or play with anything. And then like 23 should just be like we should have hopefully already we should have some designs at least for what the UI should look like, and then 23 should just be, I hope, just a ton of iterating and a ton of like action on actually building out sort of the principal parts of the UI. Oh yeah, you know what, I wanted to ask you guys something. Oh, hold on. Any plans to handle mining up and down, auto building ladders and not leaving random single blocks in 4x4 area? The random single blocks shouldn't happen, or at least not without extremely good reason. Yeah, that's something to bring up with Albert. Yeah, adding ladders, like, do we want auto placement of ladders? Do we want, like, yeah. Actually, this is a good time. Actually, Albert just went on vacation, but I will bug him for you. Maybe now is like let's kill some of these like stupid UX issues. Let's think about how to sensibly do this, and it might actually end up relying on this sort of system where we figure out how to join topologies and whatnot. But one way or another, it'd be nice to start putting some nails into some of these particular caskets. I have not played in a while, but one thing I could not figure to do, or was not in the game, was to move dirt around. Yeah, we started on getting dirt building. Did we actually get it? I'm not even sure if it shipped. Oh god, I haven't played Stonehearth in a while. I'm too busy building the damn thing. And have a farm on the roof of a building. I think you could have a farm. There's no reason you couldn't. Oh no, because you need dirt. Yeah, and we don't allow dirt. No. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, we don't even allow moving earth onto other structures. I could be wrong about that. Farm on a structure. which has to be on dirt. So do we want to allow dirt onto things? I don't know. Do we want that? It could be cool. Now that you've brought it up, I kind of like the image of like you have like some big like a big castle, like something really large, and then you kind of build up and up and up, and then you have like these big like sort of plateau sort of things, and you start like putting farms on them, and like that could be really neat. And if you wanted to have gardens or stuff like that, there's gameplay questions there. Like it's kind of nice the fact that farming I think is segregated right now from the structures. They have to be deliberately placed elsewhere. But you could almost imagine a sort of thing where you could like specifically build like a tilled region or something like that. Some specific kind of container thing in like a farm plot or whatever, and then they would go and like, and maybe you'd have to irrigate it. It would be like special. It would have some negatives associated with it because you're building it on a structure, and so you have to like have extra water or whatever. There's some sunlight requirements or something like that. Like I like this idea now that I'm saying it out loud, but it feels like there's a lot of like sort of gameplay things to consider. Before I forget, I really wanted some opinions because we got some builders in the stream, which is great. Um, Arbitrary voxel building. Um, Let me think. Where's my So right now, when you're like, I'm gonna go, use my slab tool, and like you can draw it in the ground, you can like drag at a thing, and then you can like drag at a thing on top of that, and you can like drag at a thing on top of that, and now that's like 3 voxels high, and this is like 4 voxels high. It's really terrible, and it's just a terrible experience. And what I've been thinking of, so imagine this is you're facing a structure or whatever, and the idea is that you go and you draw, you have this sort of freehand thing. It's probably mostly freehand, probably, and you can draw your slab and you can draw your voxels out basically, and then we allow you to push and pull, kind of like the sort of box modeling thing, if you've ever done that with polygons, where you can go and select, say, half of these voxels like this, and then you can like pull out those selected voxels, or you could select an individual voxel. Like I'm thinking something like where you could select an entire side, entire contiguous sort of region of voxels, or individual ones, and you could select this one and pull it out, and then you could rotate around a little bit and like start pulling another voxel and like moving stuff around like that. I was basically inspired. Both sort of box modeling and another thing I saw, I think Pro Builder tools or something like that, for Unity. It's a very fast, sort of rapid, like prototyping thing, particularly good for maps and things like that. SketchUp, formerly Google SketchUp, had the same selection system. Yeah, okay, yeah, like it's out there, it's in the wild. Lots of people, I guess, are doing this. I really like that idea. I feel like it's limiting in the sense that like it's not like cool 3D modeling software where you can like drag vertices and you can split things and add like edges, and like it's just voxels. You're just gonna be dealing with voxels the whole time. But it might make for a much sort of faster, I'm thinking, experience. Just something like right now it's just super frustrating. You're placing pixel by pixel by pixel, and to be able to go and just sort of select swaths of things and move them around, I feel like would end up being a lot better. Um, you actually could drag out 3D boxes back when slabs were first added. I was kind of sad when they fixed that. Yeah, but it didn't make sense. How did you drag out a 3D? Oh, right, because we probably didn't limit anything. See, how do you even do that, though? Because you need to have a position on, like, I can see where you anchor the plane, but then you have to, like, I don't know, you could have, like, my intention, what I really want to see, I really want to see like wall tools, and a wall tool that's like The Sims, which is say more like a room tool, where you draw out sort of the shape of the walls, and then you connect them, and suddenly boom, you've got a floor, and you can drag stuff around. And then like variable height walls, so that we can kind of push and pull and make walls of different sizes, like intelligent stair tools that'll like cut holes and things like that. But between variable height walls, roofs that you can basically kind of put anywhere as long as it's mounted on a structure, and then like I don't know, like that wall tool, a nice roof tool, good stuff for stairs, and then like pretty much nothing else. I'm really hoping like 90% of people will use that and that alone. This is going to be 90% of people that want to make like attractive looking structures and make them look nice and cute and rotate them around, put them in nice little areas, and maybe adorn them with some extra stuff. They can take templates and edit them a little bit. And then the voxel tool is going to be like the power tool. That's going to be like I want to like add a lot of oh yeah, another thing is like make sure arbitrary voxel structures can be like tagged and you can treat them as walls or roofs or floors or whatnot. So now that they hide and show appropriately inside the camera view. But I'm playing with this idea where like the voxel tool is like a real power tool and has lots and lots of options. It's a little bit more finicky, maybe a little bit harder to use just because of that. If you're not interested in using it, if you don't want to go and like done 3D modeling before and you're like, I just want to like get like a square thing and put a roof on, you'll be fine. But if you want to go nuts and make like pixel art, you can still do it, but hopefully with a lot more power. Um, it really sounds like you're describing a very simple CAD tool. Yeah, that's exactly like, yeah. I mean, why not? Why not? Like it's a voxel CAD tool. It's not nearly as terrible as like actually doing a full 3D modeler. And you know, why wouldn't like we can do this? We can totally do this. Um, I think it would be an intuitive choice and would be familiar to some people and would introduce the concept in a game context to players who hadn't done 3D modeling before. Good passive education. Maybe, who knows? Uh, Specifically additive and subtractive extrude. Yeah, I really think that's all you need. Good flexible wall tool, good roof tool, good stairs tool, individual voxel tool for the hardcore fans. That's okay. It's nice to hear another voice say that, or rather another community voice say that. That's I think we're going to take our swings at. I don't want to speak for Nikki because I know she has lots of like interesting ideas and she's taking some inspiration from I think Google SketchUp as well. Um, you'd have to be able to paint on voxels or tag voxels as typed. Yeah, so like you could imagine a couple ways that could work, where you could actually start with like, this is my voxel tool and I'm putting it in wall mode. So like, okay, you're gonna make a wall now, and then you'll won't have to so much tag it as just tell us where the normal is. But then of course you're gonna make a mistake. You're gonna forget that you're in wall mode tool when you really wanted to be in roof tool. So we have to give you the means of like selecting groups of things and be able to say, okay, actually no, you're a roof tool, or actually half of you is a roof, the other half is a wall. And of course once you have that, it's like, well, now we have to be able to save these things as like placeable items as well. So that's just another one of those things. It's like it's been on the list for a very, very, very long time, where you can just, instead of like dragging buildings out of your template folder, you could just have like a preset wall and stuff that you could just stamp out, that would behave hopefully as you want walls to behave, and ditto with roofs and floors and stuff like that. Um, but good. Okay, I'm glad this seems to be getting a bit of traction, and people seem to be pretty like, yeah, CAD modeling. This is what we want. I don't know. I'm hoping like it'll be interesting to see how fast we can roll this out, and interesting to see what we're going to do. Like, do we get the wall, roof, floor tool, stair tool like first and then come with the voxel thing? It depends on, like, I know Justin wanted to go and work on building like in terms of the UI stuff with me as well, relatively soon. So with two people, like, yeah, we can probably do a lot of damage. Like I said, not 22. I really hope we could maybe have some experimental preview something 23. Like I just know we're going to run into like, this is a problem, that's a problem, whatever. So maybe 24 is like the safe bet. And with some stuff won't be there, like probably renovations will not be in at first, but at least we've sort of paved a way for us to get there. And then like oh, actually, you know what? That's another question I wanted to ask. Oh, you already have a perpendicular or quadrilateral selection tool. Yep. Well, careful, because it's like you want to select the volume potentially. You don't necessarily want to go and like, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a gross one, a volume selection, as opposed to like I'm infinitely selecting it vertically. So got to be a little bit careful. Every big building update has been my favorite, but none has ever been enough. Yeah, I know your pain. Don't worry, we're gonna get there. What did I want to ask you guys? Oh, renovations. So you've got your structure, you built this thing, you're happy with it, and then you're like, actually, you know what? This wall is unsightly. I want to bring this down to like here. Or actually, no, is that what I want to go? I want to do oh yeah, well this is 2D. Let's pretend you wanted to put in a window. Or like you wanted to like, no, that's not what I want to describe either. Okay, let's just go with this and call it a day. I want to tear down this much of the structure and make it look like this. So, would you be cool if, would you guys be okay with subtractions that happen basically instantaneously. Like right now, when you want to blow up a building, you click the building, you like remove, and the building's like, psh, because it's frustrating, and you don't want to like. And for some reason, it's a little bit unintuitive to me because it's like it's fun watching characters watching the Hearthlings build up the building, and it's really frustrating waiting for them to like tear down the whole damn thing. And it's actually really fun to kind of watch the thing go poof like that. In renovations, do you feel like something similar would be appropriate? Where additions would still have to be made, using like actual Hearthlings have to come up, maybe build scaffolding, hammer on it, blah blah blah. But subtractions, like I want to get rid of this wall because I want to go and extend this thing, in this direction and add more stuff. If the opening, if the wall that's going to the section of the wall that's going to disappear, just did that. If it just went poof and you got some resources back, and then the Hearthlings sort of trundle in and start building their stuff. The reason I'm asking is because in general the removal problem is a particularly hard one, especially in terms of like removing floors, for example. Like where do you go and like where do you stand when you're removing a floor? Like do you and if you have to stand under a thing, like can you kind of do the voxel up thing? Like it could be really really difficult and take a long time to do certain kinds of subtractions. The building is still not a problem. Building's okay, but the subtractions could get nasty. And if I can just avoid that, I think instantly would work fine. Well, if they just did it, then it'd be easy for enemies to just do that. They will not have that power. Instant subtractions would be good. Hearthlings have enough work to do. If it really is an issue, you can always come back to it later, which would be interesting. But no, guys, that's not going to happen. No. We are not allowing the enemies to do that. Enemies will have to go and use their non-Hearthling god powers to remove structures. I think that works fine. Okay. So I mean, now you're all the nice people who like stuff. So like I gotta modulate your opinions a little bit, but that's probably how it'll start, where you'll try to make your changes to your existing thing. The subtractions will go poof, and then the Hearthlings will make their way in. Plus, it gives the player less time to beat themselves up for mistakes. Yeah, oh, that's the intuition I was looking for. Yes, Stonehearth logo, you just made my day. Yep, yep. That is such a good point. That is such a good insight. You make a mistake and you want to change it, and now that's what was bugging me. You have to wait. You have to wait forever, and it's frustrating. Yeah. I like that. I can sell that. I can sell that to gameplay people. Never mind the technical challenges. Um, yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, it could still be wrong. No, it has to be done manually by Hearthlings. Okay, we can call the whole. Yeah, okay, you're absolved. No, that's a really crucial insight. That's a really crucial insight. It is punishing to the players in a way that construction is not. Construction is the game working as designed because you don't want things to instantaneously come in and whatnot. Whereas a renovation for an existing failure or a mistake, let's not call it a failure, on the player's part is like us kind of giving you the middle finger. Yeah, yeah. Will it remove over time so if someone queues a removal, they have a chance to cancel removal? No idea. That's a possibility. I could see people wanting it to be instantaneous. You could, obviously have like the queue up the thing where it's like, are you sure you want to start building? And you have to say yes, because we're going to have that anyway. All the building stuff is still going to have pre-calculations and take time to run. Um, but you could totally have a thing where it's like, once you click this button, these things are going to happen, and they won't be. Yeah, actually, it's a good point because it might be surprising the first time you see it. Yeah, like a confirmation dialogue, but also like this is going to disappear right now, and like, somehow have to message that and make sure people see it. Um, all good points. Really good points. Yeah, Stonehearth logo, you made my day. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. And it's 10 o'clock for me, so I'm tired. I've been talking for an hour. Awesome. Yeah, some good feedback here. This is good to hear. I'm sorry building has taken so long. I'm sorry that it's taken so long to get to this point where you can even devote the resources necessary to make what is such a crucial part of Stonehearth, like actually work and actually good. But I'm also just really excited now that I finally get to go and like demolish the existing structure. Oh God, I'm punning like Brad. Demolish the existing structure and then and get to do something that's going to make us proud and make you guys proud. Are you going to have a way to cancel placing of items that you place in the wrong area before it's placed? That should work. I can double check on that, see what's going on. Well, you have to building plan storage, so you could. Oh, unless you're talking about building in particular, then yes. No, no, no. There's some need to apologize. A little bit anyway. It's a yeah. That's just how I see it. We have a game to deliver, and when it takes too long, like I understand. I understand player pain when you really want something, and it's like, oh no, it's all right. There's months more of this coming, but we will get there, and it's gonna be good. You're gonna like it. All right, so I'm gonna sign off in just I guess another minute or two. If anyone has any last minute questions, I will happily answer. Uh, what? No. Oh, in the unit frame. You should be able to click on the ghost. I will look at that. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense that that's the case because we had canceling item placement in. So something is butchering. Let me make a note so I can at least look at this tomorrow. And if nothing else, I can commit some code for Alpha 22. All right. There. That'll be my good deed. Do. How do we pester you on Discourse? I'm super not active on Discourse. Um, yeah, that's terrible. Oh, I'm gonna fix that. I hate that. I am at pardon me, not Owen Wilson, not underscore Owen underscore Wilson for very weird historical reasons. Not worth going into right now. I can if I check really infrequently. I sometimes just ghost out because like I'll just be head down in a problem and then forget about things. But if you're lucky, I will go and be able to respond. Um, so I think that's everything. 10:02. I'm going to be signing off. I don't know who's on next week. We will see. But hopefully, yeah. And about 6 or 7 weeks is when I'll next be streaming again. I hope to have lots of good UI stuff to show you guys, and at least you can see where the hell things are going and be like, okay, yay, building. Super excited for this. Thank you, Chris. Looking forward to throwing challenges. Oh God, yeah. Yep. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's gotta work 100% of the time, or I will not be satisfied. All right. Signing off. I will see you when I see you. Toodle. Ooh.